Are you interested in studying a sports degree, or you may just want an idea of how to structure a personal statement? You clicked on the right video, because I've come across my first ever personal statement, and I'm talking back in 2016 when I was applying for my sport and exercise science degree. If you're new here, my name's Mariah. I'm a physiotherapist, and on this channel I'm posting physiotherapy, lifestyle and travel related. As I said, my undergraduate degree was in sport and exercise science with a year abroad, and then I went on to do my master's in physiotherapy. The other day I was going through my computer because I am bad for not deleting things when it comes to university and education, and I stumbled across my first ever personal statement. I thought it'd be good to read my personal statement, not only to look back and see the differences in my personal statements. If you're wondering what I'm comparing it to, I have a video of my sharing my personal statement for my master's degree, which I can put up in the cards if you want to see the difference yourself, or if you are looking to go into physiotherapy after potentially doing a sports degree. So I'll get started to reading it. Now this one, just from first glance, at looking at it, it is considerably shorter than what I now write. Sports is something which gives me a thrill, a sense of completion, I may say. Therefore, I have chosen to apply for a sports course with a year abroad. During the year abroad, if possible, I would like to do a combination of both studying and doing a placement, because I know that experience is important. The course looks at different aspects of sport, not just the physical side, which is what I like. This course this course will allow me to reach my hopeful career of being a physiotherapist. I am currently studying BTEC sports. The course has taught me to think in more depth about my answers compared to when I studied level 2 BTEC sports. Okay, so I'm gonna leave my judgment till the end. It's hard to read it. I can clearly see big differences in my writing already. Like, one thing I will say, my grammar is non-existent, so I'm struggling to read it. My time management and organization skills have developed within the course through having deadlines when work is due. I have had to handle my time effectively to ensure I can complete the work. Okay. Other skills of mine which have developed other skills of mine which have developed, such as no, I can't. I'm struggling. Sports is something which gives me a thrill, a sense of completion, I may say. Therefore, I have chosen to apply for a sports course with a year abroad. During the year abroad, if possible, I would like to do a combination of both studying and doing placement, because I know that experience is important. The course looks at different aspects of sport, not just the physical side, which is what I like. This course will allow me to reach my hopeful career of being a physiotherapist. I'm currently studying BTEC sports. The course has taught me to think in more depth about my answers compared to when I studied level 2 BTEC sports. My time management and organisation skills have been developed with the course. Through having deadlines when work is due, I have had to handle my time effectively to ensure I can complete the work. Other skills of mine which I have developed, such as my leadership skills, I have a level 1 sports leadership award and the coach unit on the course has developed has helped with developing this further. When it comes to the experience I had, okay, I'm gonna keep reading, but I'm gonna struggle because my grammar is poor. That's the first comment I'm gonna say, but I will give more comments at the end. When it comes to experience, I have had work experience twice in my local hospital. Last year, for 2 days, I was in the physiotherapy department. This was where I realized this is what I want to do as a career. Over the 2 days, I shadowed in 4 different areas of this department, from home physiotherapy to outpatient physiotherapy. When I shadowed on the ward, watching how physiotherapists worked with the patients, Jesus, I wrote patients wrong. Anyway, worked with the patients, I knew then that it was something that I would like to do in the future. This year, I have had 2 weeks worth of work experience in the cardiology department. There I helped on the administration side of filing and tracking notes. However, in my free time, I watched a few ECGs, echocardiograms, and found it interesting to watch. I have other achievements, an NCS, National Citizen Service Award, from completing a 4-week course in the summer of 2014. This course gave me the confidence to do public speaking and approach the public. In 2015, I got a Princess Diana Award for active citizenship as I carried out a mock election in my 6th form as a part of my ACS citizenship course. When I am not doing coursework, I find myself cycling. I cycle a lot. It's one of my favorite ways to get around. If I'm not cycling, I'm running. I used to do athletics at a participation level. It is something that I hope to get back into during university. Other than sports hobbies, I listen to music quite a lot, or I play video games. I find these to be relaxing. As well as those hobbies, my interest is history. I enjoy reading about it and going to museums. I tend to go to the National History Museum and the Science Museum because looking at the way things were before interests me. When I go, I learn something new. I'm a committed student, eager to learn, with an approachable, bubbly personality. I have good attendance. I have never missed a day unless I'm extremely ill. As I have said, I have many skills which I can bring to the classroom if given the chance to study a sports degree. Now, that was hard to read. One thing I will say, my grammar is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. My writing has come a long way from when I was 16. Jesus, that wasn't 16. Wait, that was when I was 18. I was about to say that's 10 years ago. That was 8 years ago now. I'm 26 now. That's crazy. But my writing has come a very long way. And obviously, looking at this, I'm taking this with a pinch of salt. I didn't expect me and there's probably people who were writing way stronger than me, but I wouldn't expect me to be writing at the level I am now then. Looking at this personal statement, I've got good bits. I've got the components, like I've got the ingredients to make a good stew, but I'm missing the binding components, if that makes sense. And I'm losing out on easy little marks in terms of my grammar is poor, like very poor. Some of these bits I gave natural pauses where now if I were rewriting this, I would insert grammar. I used maybe 1 comma throughout this whole thing. There were different ways I could have said stuff. Like if we go by paragraph. So the first paragraph is my intro where I'm talking about that sports is something that gives me a thrill, a sense of completion, I may say. 1, don't get me wrong, I think that's a nice opener. I do tend to open with something that tries to show my level of passion, but reading that now, I'm like, that is corny. But I'm like, hey, you know what? I give myself whatever. It is what it is. It got me in. That's all I'm gonna say. It got me in. It wouldn't get me into degrees now, but it got me in. Anyway, reading that, obviously, I'm like, corny, not great grammar. That first bit, especially where I talk about like the year abroad, I'm like, that's great, but then I don't really go into it much, which I'm surprised by. That later on when I'm talking about like obviously the fact that I've applied for a year abroad course, I'm not sure why I didn't take the opportunity to mention the fact that I love to travel. And like, don't get me wrong, at the time when I was 17, 18, I didn't travel as much as I do now, but I traveled considerably more than people I knew. So I don't know why I didn't take the opportunity to speak about holidays I went on in my childhood, and experiences I gained from them, and cultural experiences that helped develop myself, which is something that I would bring in now, and I'm sure I brought in more recent personal statements. I think it's a good thing to show, because then you show an understanding of the fact that in many of these healthcare careers, even in sports careers, you're going to see people from different cultures, different walks of life, and something to you that may seem like a small hobby of like, oh, I like to travel and I like to see sights or whatever. You still learn something when you go to a different country. You learn a bit about their culture, you learn a bit about how people communicate and stuff like that, and it develops you as a person. And that's something that I missed the opportunity to touch on. And I'm glad that I was honest about the fact that I want to be a physiotherapist. I knew when applying for this, I wanted to be a physiotherapist. Funny story, when I was actually writing this, my first draft, it was clearly driven for just physiotherapy, and it looked like I was applying for a physiotherapy degree. If you're wondering why I didn't apply for a physiotherapy like undergrad, and took the sports science then master's route, is simply because I didn't get the grades. And I have a video I previously made on that, like a little animation explaining my journey, which I can put up in the cards if you're interested. But that's that. Moving on to the second paragraph, the one that starts with, I'm currently studying BTEC sports. Now, let's go. The thing that I don't like about this paragraph for myself is that I mentioned that, okay, I'm currently studying BTEC sports. Obviously, they're going to see which level I'm studying at in my UCAS application. And then the next sentence, I mentioned that when I studied level 2 BTEC sports. Why didn't I differentiate the levels from the first paragraph? Like, the first sentence, where I should have been like, okay, I am currently studying level 3 BTEC sports, and then go studying level 2 BTEC sport. It's just more for consistency. And I think it's for someone who doesn't understand the course or didn't know much about BTECs, it would help. Because we don't know who's necessarily reading these personal statements. We can't necessarily say that it's someone who's specialised in that area. You hope it is, but, in terms of good things about this paragraph, I do mention key bits which are important to make you a good student, good practitioner, good anything, to be fair, in many roles, is my time management, my organisation skills, and the fact that, like, yeah, I can manage myself well. I know how to work in terms of leadership stuff. I've said before, obviously when writing statements, personal statements, whether that be supporting evidence, you kind of don't want to, you don't want to throw, oh, I've done this and I've done that and I've done this. And in this paragraph, I've kind of done that, where I kind of just throw in that, like, yeah, I have level 1 sports leadership. Okay. Like, when the way I threw it in, I didn't even use any grammar, so it comes out of nowhere, slaps you about, and it's like, yeah, hello. And the coaching unit bit, it kind of seemed like a random jump in at the end. I was like, oh yeah, coaching unit. Which I'm like, oh, okay, you go, good on you. But ultimately, besides the crappy structure of it, I have made clear the key things that are important. So moving on to the third one, I talk about my experience at my local hospital, talk about my experience shadowing physiotherapists, and this is the moment I realised I wanted to be a physiotherapist. Now, you may ask, why didn't I talk more on that moment? Simply because I was applying for a sports science degree. If I was applying for a physiotherapy undergrad, I would have focused so much on that moment. I would have dived in onto every little sector of the time I spent with those physiotherapists and showed my clear understanding of the profession and my clear drive to get to the profession. Now, obviously, that was at that time, but now looking at it, if I were to write this again, and let's say for like my master's degree, the fact that I was saying stuff like this for my undergraduate degree, so I started that in 2016, all the way up until, was it 2020, I want to say 2021, when I went to the University of Birmingham for my master's, shows that I've been passionate. Like, I've been tunnel focused on this profession, and obviously now I am a physiotherapist, so my dedication shone through, and I believe that even though my writing is a bit my dedication, my passion for not just the sports sector, but the healthcare sector alone is shining throughout it. So that's what I can say on that. I could have touched a bit more on some experiences I had, but like I've said, it pulls me away from the sports side of stuff. I could have leaned more into just a simply healthcare and how sports benefits the healthcare, and understanding the science and the different modules of the degree will help build that, and I can enhance that further. Like I could have talked about my experiences with cardiology can help me with better understanding of physiology, and I could have done something similar in terms of when I was like seeing people do different range of motion exercises with my time of shadowing those physiotherapists. I could have kind of linked it to biomechanics, and how it will help visualize and get a better understanding. Of the courses that we had one where you pretty much just kind of worked out, and it was like prescribing exercise and stuff, and I could have really tied it in, but hindsight's 2020. Anyway, moving on to the NCS one. If you don't know about NCS, everybody was doing that at the time. I don't know if it's still a thing. I think it probably is still a thing, to be fair. But yeah, it was like that little bit where I'm like, oh, I have other achievements. NCS, which I did at the end of the summer. Okay, cool. That gave me public speaking, like confidence to public speak and the confidence to approach the public. Great, that's awesome. And then I talk about my Princess Diana award and like how I gained that. That's great. I do wish I focused a little bit more on that and builded a bit more from what I've gained from those. It is interesting to think that like I was doing some public speaking bits from then. I think my obviously I've got a channel now, and I've had this channel for 4 going on 5 years now. That's wild to think. But I'd say that my confidence is always growing, and in terms of public speaking, because I don't do it that frequently, my confidence is always fluctuating. But I think I get where I was going with this, but I definitely could have highlighted my achievements in a better way, through more examples, so it isn't kind of just like list, bullet point. Moving on, I talk about what I do outside of school, and that I like cycling, and I did athletics, and I like history, music. Reading this, I did feel a bit sad. I don't cycle anymore like I used to. I don't know when last I cycled, to be fair. It's been a couple of years. It's kind of sad to read that. I still love being on a bike. I always did growing up, but and like even athletics and stuff like that. But the bit where I mentioned the National History Museum and the Science Museum, and looking at the things is the like gets me interested. I feel like what I was trying to do with that was I was trying to say, okay, like this kind of ties in to sports science because I'm understanding like the science behind things. I'm understanding like how the body works in like the Science Museum, and I'm tying it into the history side of stuff with the National History Museum. But maybe, I don't know if I was also going for the approach of I'm also a visual learner, which I am. I am a very visual person, and that maybe I was trying to portray it in that way. If that was what I was trying to achieve at the time, I don't feel like I've done it well. There could have been different ways to put out the fact that like, oh yeah, I like reading about it, but also seeing it firsthand and like being able to look up the different parts of the body, or just getting that depth of understanding. It's like helps me grasp it. But anyway, it does show that I'm open to learning and that I'm pretty flexible, which is nice. At the end bit does make me smile in terms of that, like the conclusion where I'm like, I'm a committed student eager to learn with an approachable, bubbly personality. I have good attendance and never miss a day unless I'm extremely ill. As I have said, I have many skills which I can bring to the classroom if given the chance to be able to study the degree, basically. And what brings a smile to my face is one about I'm a committed, a student eager to learn with an approachable, bubbly personality. I still have that very bubbly personality, and I like to think I'm pretty approachable. So that has not changed in me. The fact that I'm very committed to what I'm doing, and everything. So I think that's nice that like I put that in. I like that. I wouldn't change that, personally. The one thing I would change though, that is a bit like, oh girl, that's cringe, is the bit where I talk about I have a good attendance and I've never missed a day unless I'm extremely ill. Okay, I'm kind of like, okay, was I trying to hit a word count? It just seems a bit left field. It's not like I spoke about an extreme illness, or it's like I had like they're checking my attendance and stuff, and these are things they could find out other means, so by other means, so it's a bit okay, bit of a waste of a sentence. But I do like the end though, where I'm like, as I have said, I have many skills which I can bring to the classroom, if given the chance to study a sports degree. I like that because it's still very much who I am now. It is straight to the point. It's basically saying, hey, I've laid this all out for you here. Let's, like, come on. We both know, Agwan. Like, I have what it takes. You are the students. Like, like, I've always had this level of confidence, and now I'm even more blatant with it. But I love ending my. You'll see that's like a common theme with my statements. I tend to end on some either paragraph or some kind of statement or some kind of sentence where I'm pretty much just like, yeah, I did all of this. Yeah, read it, weep, believe it. I did it. I got evidence to back it up. You asked for this. You want this. Now let me know when I should start. Like, and I feel like it's low-key giving that to an extent. And I love it. But that's me looking at my first ever personal statement. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys ever look back on your personal statement and think, oh God. Or you think, wow, my writing's gone downhill. But I hope that's not the case. But if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And obviously comment down below if there's a part of it that you enjoy. And I'll see you guys in another video. Subscribe!